Hi, thank you for checking this video. For those agencies and programs that are seriously engaged in monitoring the results, the DCED offers an optional audit service. In this video, we will highlight the purpose, preparation, and process of a DCED audit.
So what is an audit? An audit is essentially an objective assessment of a program's results measurement system against the DCED standard. It is optional. While some programs have been asked by their donors to opt for an audit, others choose to do so themselves. And it is confidential. The DCED only lists audited programs on their website if programs score over 85%, but only include their audit report with the program's permission. There are plenty of benefits of going through a DCED audit. First, the DCED audit serves as a credibility check of a program's results measurement system. Second, it encourages program managers to get the results measurement system in order and organize all their documentation. And of course, it brings external recognition for the program from donors as well as the wider community for being seriously engaged in results measurement. Now we take a look at how a program prepares for an audit. First, the program reaches out to the DCED. Next, the DCED checks whether the program is ready. As a big part of being ready, we highly encourage programs to have a pre-audit review done. If it looks like a program would do reasonably well in an audit, the DCED suggests auditors. Next, the program, DCED, and the selected auditors decide on the date and scope of the audit. Once this is finalized, programs are expected to submit a complete set of documents as requested by auditors at least 6 weeks before the audit. To make DCED audits more feasible, programs also have the option of going through an audit remotely. Here's what programs had to say of their DCED audit experience. We hear from Enterprise Partners in Ethiopia, which is a DFID-funded program facilitating market development to create jobs and raise incomes of Ethiopians living with poverty. Moreover, the program places a special emphasis on women economic empowerment. Enterprise Partners works primarily in the manufacturing or agro-industrial sectors and also focuses on the financial sector to ensure there is sufficient finance to create jobs. The Enterprise Partners program, in its 7 years of implementation, has been able to develop partnerships and implement interventions with both private and public sector stakeholders. Here to describe their experience, we have Nebil Kellow, the Managing Director at Enterprise Partners in Ethiopia.
I guess it was in the earlier years that we said, do we want to pursue this thing called the DCED standard? And I think there are 2 reasons for me why I pursued it. The first one is, so I'm a team leader. I have a background, I understand economics, I do understand a bit about statistics, but my leather sector lead, I can sit down and challenge them on a lot of things. My garment sector lead, even my finance department, I can really get under the bonnet of the work that they're doing. But in MRM, that's not the case. It's very technical, it is imprecise, and there's a lot of judgment calls to be made. So having an external opinion, having people come in, and through the DCD process, we had different consultants come in and give us guidance along the way. We didn't just go straight to an audit. And they said, look, here's the theory, but here's how you apply it. And that was incredibly helpful for us. This was a multi-year project for us in terms of applying the DCED standard. It was a process that we got to, and certainly we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Then came the audit. Last year took the brave decision to actually be audited by the DCED. They sent out 2 excellent auditors. And because we had been for several years building and not reinventing the wheel, I think it was largely a comfortable process. They came out for a few weeks. I think we got the warning signs when they sent us a request for documents was 2 pages itself. They came out, they asked lots of questions, they were very structured, they sat down with the teams, they knew our stuff as well as we did, which I respected. The conversations, every team that went in and spoke to them, before they felt like they were going in and sitting an exam. But they'd come out of it thinking, I wanted to talk more with them. It was a really incredible conversation. So the process itself was actually really value-adding, but it was a process that was intensive and it took a lot of resource. But I think the investment was worth it because the main thing is once we've been audited and Enterprise Partners got a very high score, I think it was at 96%, it was incredibly comforting for our clients to know that our systems are robust because, as I said, there's a lot of judgment calls in there, there's a lot of discussion, but to have a standard to come out and say that, I think is incredibly valuable. I'll just conclude with a couple of lessons that I've learned. Number 1, commitment is key. When my intervention managers know that I'm going to read every results chain every quarter, when I'm going to read every monitoring report that comes back from the field, they start to see that it's not just the MRM team that cares about this, it's management. I think the second thing is you need to not just empower your MRM team, but you need to invest in them. I do think in MRM, perfection is the enemy of good. We can have perfect systems, but we'd be missing the point. It's really about making sure that people get the right information at the right time. I've talked about the audit building trust, but I really saw that with our donor. I think I believed in it before, but now I.
Here's what PIND in Nigeria had to say of the DCED audit experience. PIND is a corporate social enterprise established by the Chevron Corporation and focuses on creating sustainable economic growth and building peace in the region. Over the past 10 years, PIND has developed partnerships with government and development stakeholders to achieve its goals. Here to describe their audit experience, we have James Elekwachi from the PIND Foundation.
Last year, officially contacted the Secretariat and we told them that we're interested in doing a full audit. And following that, he was able to nominate 2 auditors. We got our DC office to finalize the contracts. One thing that was quite significant is that 1 month to the audit interviews, we were asked to actually submit all the necessary documentations. And this, includes all forms of documentations like intervention guides, the justification documents, job descriptions, concept notes, everything. It's actually amazing how those 2 auditors were able to read all of them, and they were able to come up with a summary and demonstrated a full understanding of all the interventions. So the consultants visited, they interviewed the PIND directors and the management, and they then came down to the field to interview the field team, and as well as the co-facilitators and partners that are working with us. Roughly after 2 weeks, we then got draft audit report, and PIND scored 85% in the must category and 81% in the recommended category. Okay, so what are the next steps? So first and foremost, we wanted to use the lessons learned to improve our results measurement system, because one thing that the audit does is to come up with a comprehensive report. It doesn't just score, it also gives a feedback in terms of the strengths and weaknesses of all the elements of the DCED standard. And so at the moment, PIND is taking actions to close those gaps that we identified. And we are now championing the DCED standard in PIND and as well as amongst our partners.
Thank you for watching. To watch full versions of the webinar, visit the DCED channel on YouTube.